Ahoy, sailors. Today we are talking about bidding for a room upgrade. Can I tell you what the top questions are? People ask, when can you bid? How much should you bid? Depending on how much you bid, what are the chances of you actually getting it? Should you bid on ROCKSTAR or on a regular room? Which is the better one to bid for? What would we personally bid on? And which is the best room to bid for? All the things coming up in today's podcast episode. Ahoy, I'm Christine Lozada.
And I'm JC, top Virgin Voyages travel agent. Welcome to the podcast.
This is the Virgin Voyages Tips Podcast, an insider guide to navigating Virgin Voyages like a pro. Find it on every podcasting platform, on YouTube, and check the show notes for additional helpful info.
And how I can get you a great deal.
Let's dive in. Ahoy, sailors. I'm here with Jason, aka JC Carter, on the top 100 Virgin Voyages First Mate Soiree. Congratulations again. We are currently at SIP. I'm about to have a mimosa with no orange juice. But we are talking about bidding upgrades. People ask this all the time. And one of the most confusing things is when. Like, at which point can you bid on an upgrade?
It varies. It really depends on how the boat is selling.
Hold on, you gotta say ship, because people always say it's not a boat. The crew calls it a boat. But you're right, it's different all the time.
It is.
And depending on how much it's selling, not only drives the price of what that sailing is, but will drive even the ability to, because sometimes we're on sailings that sell out.
Yeah.
And you can't bid on a room that doesn't exist.
No.
So it can vary a lot. I would say, is there an in general of when you see it, if you see it?
It's usually probably about 3 months prior.
Yeah.
Could be more.
Yeah.
But you could get it a month before.
Yeah.
For this sailing, for example, this got booked for me in December.
Mm-hmm.
This is a January 8th sailing. Mm-hmm. So, it was a month prior and I got it immediately.
Yeah.
And there was and I could bid on all room types.
Yeah.
They list them all.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go and look at the ship, it was sold out except for one room. But it still allowed you to bid.
Which leads to you may or may not get it. So we're about to talk about how much you should bid. But I think this is an important thing because it throws off a lot of people. Yeah. Which is, okay, cool. So like I got this notification to bid well in advance. But when will you find out if you got it or not? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, so it varies on how the ship is sailing. I do know someone that bid on this sailing and they found out the day before.
Yes, which can be frustrating for some people because they want to know. And some people, like I bid on a room and I just never heard back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I checked in and it was like, okay, well, apparently I didn't get it. Yeah. And so you basically will bid at some point and then they'll tell you when they feel like it. Actually, that feels very Virgin Voyages to me. Yeah.
I mean, I bid for this sailing. I bid $4,000 for a mega.
Did you really?
I did.
And you ended up getting ROCKSTAR status anyway.
I got the VIP status, but I didn't get the room. I wanted the room.
Oh, this is a whole other conversation. Okay, so let's actually talk about how much to bid. Because when I receive the email, I look at it and as you scroll, it's like, okay, cool, you see these rooms, and then it says a number under there. Yeah. And that number, how should someone interpret it? I interpret it as, this is how much to bid and you'll get it. But that's not what it means. No. How do you interpret that number?
It's kind of the starting point.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really the starting point. I mean, you really want to be somewhere in the middle. That's what I always tell people, because people do ask me this all the time. What should I bid?
Yeah.
And if you bid in the middle, you have a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
If you bid more than the middle, you're going to have a really good chance.
Well, I think what's funny is we're talking about the middle, but the starting point number that you'll see in that email is way below what the high number is. Yeah. Like it's not like, I'll just put in $5 and see what happens. Like, no, you put in $5 and you'll basically get laughed at, not actually, but virtually laughed at.
Yes.
You actually have to bid a decent amount.
Yeah, the computer's laughing at you.
No, nobody's laughing at you. If anything, JC and I are supporting you.
Yes.
And we're here to support you every way of every step of this process. Yep. Which actually leads to, what's in that list, some of the rooms are regular. Maybe you're in a C terrace and you want to go central, or maybe you're in a C terrace and you want to go XL. But some of the rooms are ROCKSTAR.
Yeah.
Break down what that means for us.
I mean, so you have the ROCKSTAR and you have the Mega ROCKSTAR, right? So it's going to allow you to bid on it, and you're going to want to bid. Those are what people are bidding on, honestly. Most of the ship is our balcony rooms, right? So there's C terrace, central C terrace. Those people, 2,000, are all going to be bidding on the ROCKSTAR. So if you want that ROCKSTAR, you got to go big.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. But the other thing about bidding ROCKSTAR, it's not just upgrading your room. It's upgrading your quote unquote status, or upgrading your benefits for the sailing.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're like what? So if you're not aware of ROCKSTAR status, make sure you're checking out that podcast episode. But the key things are early boarding time. Generally, you get access to Richard's rooftop. Depending on the type of room, maybe you'll get a bar tab, in-room bar.
Yes.
Lots of different additional benefits than just being, I don't want to call it a regular sailor, because that's not how I would feel. There's a lot, and actually that debate will be in that podcast about whether I think ROCKSTAR is worth it or not. So it's really ask yourself what you're looking for in the type of experience. And also, if you're like, what's the difference between Central C Terrace versus XL? Check out that podcast episode, because we are here with all of the info. Okay, so that's bidding on rooms. So let's say I bid on a room, and we kind of talked about it, like, what are the chances? Is there anything someone can do? Because it's really about how much the ship is selling out.
It is.
That will determine your chances of getting it. Is there anything someone can proactively do ahead of time to see what their chances might be?
There's really not. It's really about how much you want to throw towards this.
Yeah.
That's what it's, honestly, it's all about the dollar.
Yeah.
What you feel comfortable with bidding. Lots of people book an inside room and they want to bid on a C terrace. You're going to be bidding a couple $100, $400, $500.
Yeah.
To hopefully get that.
Yeah.
So it depends on the sailing. I mean, there's so many variables to it that it's hard to answer that question.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I would say, if you're listening to this and feeling stressed out about the choice, I have 2 additional tips for you. One is, ain't nobody does this once. You're coming back. Let's be real. This is my 17th sailing with Virgin Voyages. The number of first timers, it's still a lot, but there's so many people who come back again and again and again, like myself, like yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you can just do it differently the next time.
Yeah.
The other thing, to give yourself some breathing room, is that if you don't get that upgrade, if you don't bid and get it, there are still ways that you can pay once you're boarding to be able to upgrade your room. And then, again, it depends on how much your ship has sold out.
Yeah.
So, but these are things that's just don't worry about it. It's going to be great. And all the rooms on Virgin Voyages are really nice.
Yeah, they are.
So you're not, well, I can't guarantee you're going to be uncomfortable. We'll have another podcast episode about how people complain about the beds.
Yeah.
We'll talk about strategies for that.
Yeah, for sure. And if you are stressed out about it, just call me and upgrade your room anyway.
Yeah. I
get that a lot.
I like that one.
I get that a lot. They're like, I'm bidding, but you know what? I don't want to do it. Just upgrade me anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I will say though, it would be tough for me to do an insider room versus a sea terrace. 86% of the rooms on this ship have a balcony, and it really is a nice experience to be outside on the balcony, especially with the hammocks.
Yeah, just to look outside.
Yeah.
Is great.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
But I have a lot of people that their theory is I'm not going to be in the room much, but when you are in the room, you want to enjoy it.
So I am the type of person that likes to go out and adventure. I actually spend a good amount of time in the room because it's really comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about normal sea terrace room.
Yeah.
And so let's actually talk about if you're gonna bid on a room, which one should you bid on? Because the first time I ever looked through that email, and I'm scrolling through all the different rooms, I was like, oh my gosh, which one should I bid on? And then at the end of the day, it ended up being based off of how much I had to bid.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you would give to someone around like which room they should bid for?
I mean, it's really what you feel comfortable with financially.
Yeah.
You know, if you got a C terrace and you want to go to a ROCKSTAR, because that's the next logical step.
Yeah.
It's really what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
To bid. And the ROCKSTAR, you know, it is good. I mean, it's a great experience.
Yeah, it is. I can't wait to hang out on Richard's rooftop later. All right, that's bidding for rooms. Anything else you would add to that?
No, I think we're good.
We're gonna cheers to that one then. Love. This has been another episode of Virgin Voyages Tips Podcast. If it was helpful, please share it with somebody. And we want you to book your sailing with us. We'd love to help you set sail because we're here for you every step of the way. A reminder to check the show notes. Things on Virgin Voyages changes all the time, and you'll find more helpful links and resources in the description. We'll see you in the next episode.